Okay, we are back. It has been a minute. I know. What do we say? It's almost the playoffs, the divisional playoff weekend. I hope everybody is as excited about it as I am. Well, the name of it last week, I was speaking about this episode of Hard Knocks. Now, no, this is not a sports podcast. There are much better places that you can go for valuable information. I do want to get into it some, relive some memories that I have, like shitting my pants, and discuss some of the bets. And I've got several already, with many more to come that are ready for this weekend. But let's watch the Hard Knocks Season 9 finale. It is the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis. There we go. I don't know why it was so hard for me to say the first time. So episode 9, it's on HBO Max. Let's do a countdown from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good news is there will be no commercials unless you have the ad-supported tier, which I hadn't really considered. We have a commercial for The Peacemaker, which the first episode was amazing. And, oh, good. There was a new episode last night. I only watched one because I refused to binge something that I liked that much. And I was like, and then I forgot to watch the next 2. So now I've got 3 more episodes to go. All right. So as they begin, if you don't know, the Indianapolis Colts, their season has come to an end. And they had a really good run. This last episode seems mostly about the fact that everybody kind of believed that they were going to go to the playoffs. And I'll let this play out and show what took place. I forget who they even lost to. Anyway, I guess we could start with the story before I get to the gambling. I never played football. Though, right after The Waterboy came out, I think that every scrawny little kid thought that they might possess some ability to turn rage into strength. And I was like, okay, that movie made it seem pretty easy to knock over a big guy. I'm all of like 120 pounds. So I remember I told this dude, John, who was cool. We were friends for years. John was a football player. I don't know what position, but he was a big kid compared to me. If I was a twig, he was a fucking stump. So we're at PE in gym class, and we're outside this day. And I remember, because I was like, all right, I'm ready to play. Because I never wanted to play football with the guys before, because they weren't doing two-hand touch. And I was like, let's do this. And I just remember, if I weighed 130, he must have been about 180, 190. And he's running at me, and I'm kind of standing there, which I think is already a mistake. I needed to be moving toward him. And he just ran through me like Kleenex. And I was like, you know what? That movie lied to me. But it only took one hit for me to be like, yeah, never again. It's just like when I think about, let's pick somebody like Aaron Darnold, who is a huge defensive lineman and like the best defensive player in the league. I like to ask people, how much money would it take for you to take one hit from somebody like him? Kind of like, how much money would it take for you to let Mike Tyson hit you as hard as he can in your face or even in your body? Because he was knocking out professional athletes with body shots back in his day. And my answer to that question is always, well, I'm going to need $5 million after my hospital bills have been paid. Because I'm not going to take that hit and then spend all of that money getting back to square one. I need to get back to this. And then I need my $5 million. The thought of him punching me in the face as hard as he could, I'm like, oh my God, not only is that how you probably die, but if I live, I'm never the same again. Now that we've gone through that one memory, look at the bling on that ring, and his fingernails say he is missing something. I don't know what's missing from his diet, but it's something. wealthy billionaire owner of a team have a milkshake. So, what bets do we have? The first app that I'm going to go through is the Caesars Sportsbook, because I've got several bets lined up for this week, and I've got 9 in Caesars Sportsbook. Some of these aren't football, and I'm going to read them because they're really weird and probably show like I've been thumbing through these apps far too much. The first one is for John Rahm, Rahm. I think that's Rahm, to win the American Express 2022 tournament. That is golf, I believe. And that's plus 600. So if you don't understand how betting works, this seems to be the most confusing part. They have all these numbers and the odds, plus and minus. It all comes back to $100. Whether it's plus or minus, it's in relation to betting $100. So if it's plus, like this John Rahm thing is plus 600, which means if you bet $100, you will win $600. Now, the next bet is for Jimmy Garoppolo to pass over 300 yards, and Eli Mitchell and Josh DeGora to both score a touchdown in the 49ers versus Packers game. The odds are plus 3,000. Remember, $100 gets you $3,000. I'm not going to tell you what I bet on any of these, but keep those things in mind. Next, we have a parlay. It's a same gay parlay. Same game parlay. Same gay parlay is a whole nother thing. What do I have? I have the 49ers and Packers game will be over 47 points. Jimmy Garoppolo will make at least 2 touchdowns. The kicker, Robbie Gould, for the 49ers will make 3 field goals. Extra points. Ooh, maybe, I don't know. Is that 3 kicks? Anyway, and then Aaron Jones on the Green Bay Packers will have over 53 rushing yards. The odds on it, plus 2,000. Parlays are weird, though, because if any of the things that I just mentioned don't happen, any one of them doesn't happen, I lose. But you are able, in some things, to look at it. So let's say 3 of those won, and I'm waiting on another 3. I can cash out depending on how I did it. Which, if you're looking at winning like 72 grand, and there's a guy who did this and I'm chasing it because I saw it on YouTube. If you're going to win 72 grand, they might let you get out early and give you 12 grand. And I will take that 12 grand every day of the week. Next bet. Bengals, Packers, Rams, and Chiefs to all win their games this weekend. The odds, plus 1,600. You'll notice I like to do a lot of pluses. The minuses, I'll explain how those work just because fuck it. So if it's like minus 110, that means if you bet 100, or excuse me, that means you would need to bet $110 to get 100. So if it's minus 350, you need to bet $350 to win 100 because they're favorited. Moving on. This next one's a UFC one because there is a UFC pay-per-view Saturday night. I do not intend on paying $70 to watch it, though it does look to be pretty good. These names I am going to butcher. Francis Ngannou, Brandon Moreno, and Michael Pereira, all to win. The odds, plus 450. Then we have a 4-game parlay. Remember, parlays mean I need all these to win in order to get the odds, which aren't even here anymore, but it's already got a number that I'll win, so fuck it. Kansas City Chiefs to win by 3. The Titans to win by 4. Tampa Bay to win by 3. Tom Brady, what's up? And the Green Bay Packers to win by 6. That was my parlay of all of the favorites because I always go against the favorites. There's always one team, like I think San Francisco is going to win. I do. But I wanted to just in case everybody who's supposed to win wins, let's get this money. And then my last two bets in Caesars aren't even for this weekend. One is for the Tampa Bay Bucks to win the Super Bowl. Actually, that's my wife's bet. Because my bet is somewhere else. I have a friend who does things for me. And until betting was legal here in New York, I was like, dude, this is what it is. And I would just send him screenshots of the bet that I won. And then he would send me back a screenshot that said he had posted the bet. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is my wife's. And the odds are plus 500. And I think that they're still plus 500. And then the last one is for the Tennessee Titans to win the Super Bowl. The odds were plus 850. I'm not sure if they've gone up or down. I made that bet January 11th. So that's one. Let's get back to the show. The next sport betting app that we will go to is BetMGM, which is my favorite. My plan is I want to take all the money out of my other accounts, with the exception of like $50, because I enjoy little things about some of them. But I plan to take all the money out of all of them and then just put it into BetMGM and make my bets for the most part there, with the occasional sprinkle on something else if they've got like promos. They were giving away so much money. If you haven't done it, it's ridiculous. I don't know why you hate yourself. Even if you know nothing of sports, even if you don't like gambling, go get this free money, make a few little bets, and then take that money and leave. It's my philosophy for the real casinos too. Like, I take my winnings, I put it in a pocket. Half, anyway. I take half the winnings, put it in a pocket. The other half, I'll leave on the table and continue to gamble with. That way, my pocket is going to get full of half of my winnings. And if I have a bad day, I still have a pocket full of extra money to go home, not to gamble with. That money leaves with me. Gotta respect wearing a mask. Something that, as much as I expect the Green Bay Packers to possibly win the Super Bowl, yes, I also put money on them. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Aaron Rodgers is such a villain for lying about being vaccinated and saying he was immunized. And then he had the audacity to have an attitude. Like, how dare people hate me for lying to the public, going against public health safety concerns? Don't judge me. Just feels bad looking at them. I made some good money with the Colts this year. First, I bet against them, and then I think they won, and I was like, what? Are the Colts actually good? And then over the next few weeks, I was like, they appear to be. And then I started putting money on them, and they made it back every time that I bet on them. I did not bet on them in their last game of the season, and that was good for me. I don't remember why I didn't. Love the Christmas trees around. Shame I wait all year for it to be Christmas, and then we get back to January, and I'm like, fuck, man, another 11 months. More like 9.5, though, because I start getting in the Christmas season October 1st. Okay, so I'll share this baseball story, and I think I might have said it, but just in case it's been a minute or you're late to the podcast, I played a lot of baseball when I was a kid. And this story takes place in the 3rd grade, I believe. It's a game. It's after school. It's a weekday. And I had never hit a home run. This was my first. Given the short version, because I'm pretty positive there's a longer version in one of the earlier episodes. So my mom is in the stands, and she's cheering me on. And I'll never forget, I hit that ball, and I just froze. And I remember watching it sail through the sky, and I was like, holy shit. And that was my first home run. Now, in hitting that ball, I gave it everything. I had nothing left, not even the strength to clench my ass, because I shit myself the moment I connected with that ball. So I'm standing there, and everybody's screaming, run, run. I know I've got shit all in my ass. I don't know if there was a stain, because it wasn't a play shit. It wasn't a sneeze shit. It was like I was on a toilet, but in my mind. The slowest jog around the bases. People are high-fiving me. So when I come into home plate, and it was possibly the slowest running of the bases ever by a child. So I come into home plate. I celebrate for all of 2 seconds. And then I just kept running. I didn't live far from the field. It was like probably 6, 7 minute walk. And I just kept going. And I went home. I changed my clothes. I threw them away. I took a shower. My mother, again, was at the game and didn't know what was going on. This was a time before cell phones. So, yeah, she just had to like make her way home eventually. Like, what happened back there? And I think the trash can told a better story than I did. But what happened? I hit a home run. That's what fucking happened. I'm a champion whose ass is now clean of feces and shame. I was telling the story of the first home run that I ever hit. I told you that story, right? Oh, I shit myself. Like, as soon as I hit the ball. Yeah, that was the hardest I could hit the ball. And I didn't have any more strength left in me. So I ran the bases, and then I ran right home. And my mom was in the stands just watching. Like, where is he going? It's still early in the game. It was third grade. Memories. All right, so now we're in the BetMGM app. I only have 3 bets at the moment in here because most of my money I made and didn't already withdraw and deposit into my account, what's up, was in Caesars. So BetMGM, I have a parlay, 3 picks. Tennessee Titans win by 4. The game is going to be under 47 points, I believe it. And then another one says over 54.5. I feel like that's somebody's stat and they just aren't showing it to me very well. Moving on. Oh, and the odds for that plus 734. So $100 gets you 734. Then we have another parlay. It's 1 game, 5 picks. Here we go. Joe Burrow for the Cincinnati Bengals to throw for 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry to score a touchdown at any time. Jamar Chase to score a touchdown at any time. Titans to win by 4. And the total points of the game to be over 47.5. Again, I really believe in the Titans. I think that they are definitely going to beat the Bengals. I think the Bengals have played like shit. Then the last one, the odds for that last one are plus 875. So $100 wins you 875. And then we have Tennessee Titans win by 4. Green Bay Packers win by 6. And I think the Packers game over 48.5 points. Odds are 717 plus 717. So $100 wins you 717. The next one that we will go to is Bet Rivers NY. How many of these apps do I have? Including Bet Rivers, 3 more. Yeah, Daddy's been busy. And they have all been giving away money. So if you haven't taken advantage of any of these, especially if you live in New York, you really, really should. All right, so we're in Bet Rivers. This one, not bad, not bad. I got some stuff out there. This coach always looks like he just heard that his wife passed away or was hurt in some brutal attack. All right, so the first bet in Bet Rivers. George Kittle to score a touchdown at any point during the 49ers-Packers game. The odds are plus 1,200. That's right. $100 wins you 1,200. The Bills versus the Chiefs to go into overtime. I said yes, and the odds are plus 1,200 again. Now we have a parlay. Total rushing yards by Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Bills. I say under 49.5. I don't think he's going to do a lot of running. I just have a feeling. Mahomes, his rushing yards over 24.5 because I think he's definitely going to run at least 25 yards. And then Devin Singletary, running back for the Bills, 60 yards or over 59.5. I think he's going to be running his ass off. Straight up money bet. Oh, the odds on that parlay are plus 750. So $100 wins you 750. On the Buffalo Bills just to win, the odds were plus 200. Derrick Henry to score 2 touchdowns. I think that's a given. The odds were plus 315. A lot of pluses. You haven't really heard some minuses yet. They're in some of these parlays, though. Like this one has a minus 113, a minus 110, a minus 109, and a minus 122. But the odds, because it's a parlay, still come out to plus 1161. That parlay was, I think that the Packers game is going to be over 47 points. I think the Bengals game will be under 47 points. I think that the Bucks game will be over 48.5 points. And I think that in the first half of the Bills-Chiefs game, it'll be under 28 points. Just a feeling. Next parlay, it's a money line bet, meaning I just think that the Bills are going to win. Again, I think that the Bills are going to win, even though if you can remember, I've got some bets where the Chiefs win just to kind of even things out. I hate putting all my eggs in one basket. So Bills to win. Brady to throw less than 3 touchdowns. I almost always go with 3 touchdowns, and then he generally gets 2, and they run in some. And then total field goals by Robbie Gould, the 49ers kicker. I said over 1.5. That just feels like a given. And the odds on that parlay are plus 545. $100 gets you 545. And then lastly, in Bet Rivers, any divisional round game this weekend to go into overtime, I said yes. The odds are plus 350. Now, it's kind of hard to keep track because you don't know what I bet, right? But what you do know is I have mentioned a lot of potential big wins. I generally try to keep my parlays between 10 and 25 bucks. Sometimes I'll go to 50. I think I did 100 and regretted that pretty quickly. Regular bets, like if I'm doing a single bet, I will generally try to go like 40 to 50, sometimes 100 if I'm really feeling strong about it. Watching game day tape, these guys look very determined. So sad to know that they're sitting at home. Even though, what do they care? Home is probably a mansion, right? I'll wait. But the next one that we're getting to is FanDuel. One of my least favorites, but the thing that I like most about FanDuel, remember how I was saying that the parlays, sometimes you can check out early? They make it very easy for you to do that in the FanDuel app. FanDuel Sportsbook, not the FanDuel, like, fantasy app. But yeah, it's the only one so far that I have seen when I check it. Like if I'm looking at a parlay, it has a big green button that's like, you want to cash out? You want to cash out right now? Like one of my parlays is a $10 parlay. I can cash out right now for $7.07. Wouldn't do that. But they stick it right in your face. Like, here you go. You want your money back? And once one of those games happens, I'm just waiting to see that amount jump up. It's $7.07 now because I only bet 10. So they're like, all right, give us $3 for wasting our time. Looking like money with your untucked shirt on. Who knew so many men didn't want to tuck in their like business shirts? Not me. Be an adult. So much hardware that they have to put on. Craziest thing about football to me is the whole like get hit and then get right back up and do that shit again. Like I think getting hit, sure, I'll do it. The get back up and do that again, that's the part where I'm like, I don't know. Like anybody can take a little bit of crack. But it's taking that second hit because now you're a crack addict. Yeah, it does. Now, who did they play? Because I am dying to know. Oh, God. Even worse. It was the Jaguars, who had a horrible season. As a matter of fact, I bet on one Jaguars game because I didn't know how trash they really were. And they've had issues with their coach and all. I get that. But I didn't know how trash they really were until I bet on them. And I watched some of that game, and they just had me breathing heavy. Everything was, come on. And those are the games that I hate, where I don't even want to like look at my phone. If I got to flip my phone over to stop me from looking at the game, I don't trust you, and you're playing like less than a professional. Jerry Jones? No, Jerry Jones is the owner of the Cowboys. Whatever this dude's name is, he looks so out of place. Like he just stumbled in from Jumanji. And here's a fun little fact. Did you know that you are allowed to grab whatever kind of hair, be it just long hair from a white dude, dreadlocks from a black guy? You're allowed to grab all that shit that like dangles out the back, which I think is a very fair thing because everybody apparently wants to let their hair grow long now. I don't understand what it is with men wanting to be like women, but yeah, if you want to grow your hair long, then I should get to grab that shit. Just like in MMA or something, like, you got long hair, let me grab it. Otherwise, cornrow it, tuck it in, do some wild shit so that I can't get my hands on it. But if I can see it and if I can touch it, it's mine. Drag you to the ground by that hair. This dude's mom is hilarious because she is living it. Like, she's out there on the field with him. I always think of Patrice O'Neal when I watch, like, the players hurt. If you haven't seen Elephant in the Room, he's got this great thing about when they grew up, people didn't sit around and hold hands and all that. They just, like, had a chant where they would make fun of him, like, he's paralyzed. Get his shoes, take his socks off, tie it around our helmets. Imagine what he would have had to say if he were still alive today. It is a goddamn shame that he is dead, yet some people who don't deserve to live another breath continue on. All right, well, we watch them trot. So now we're in FanDuel Sportsbook, right? And I only have two bets at the moment, which is less than I thought, but I had a bet last night that was on a basketball game, and I won. So the first parlay is the Titans win by 4. Notice that recurring theme. And that the game is under 47.5 points. I think that's going to be a very low-scoring game. And Matthew Stafford to throw for over 282 yards. That parlay is plus 579. Another thing I love about parlays, they're all plus for the most part. And then the next parlay, another little three-way, is Titans to win by 4, again. The Green Bay Packers flat out to win. And the Buffalo Bills to win by 3. See, not a whole lot of action there. And then there's only one more app that I've got, I think, a bet placed in. I never really use DraftKings. I'm not a big fan of their fantasy thing. I don't think I really love, like, they didn't have great promos. They weren't really giving a whole lot of money away. It's kind of like if a girl tells you she has a crush on you, but she's like a Mormon or somebody that's really like devoutly religious, but every other girl has a crush on you and they'll at least make out with you. Does the Mormon even get a chance? I think not. I say no. So with DraftKings Sportsbook, the last little bet is just a simple two-way parlay. Rams to win by 3, Packers to win by 6. Excuse me, Rams can lose by 3 and I still win. And then the Packers to win by 6. The odds on that? They don't even show. See, that's something not to like. How are you not going to show me what the odds are anymore? They tell me what I'll win based on my bet, but I don't know. That feels like Bush League. Shame. Shame on them. That's definitely the kind of mom who fights somebody in the stands. Like, hey, fuck that guy. That's my son. Shut your mouth before I cut your throat. And now that I'm such a big fan of AEW, I find myself wanting to like the Jacksonville Jaguars because the Khan family owns that team and Tony Khan owns AEW. I think his father is the main one who owns the Jaguars, but it's like, oh man, I really want to like you guys. But I just don't because you play like shit smells. Maybe. See, everybody wants to raise the next great player, but maybe the key is figuring out how to raise the next great coach. Like, they probably do need to play when they're young in order to fully grasp the game. But let's say they somehow get through college, they don't go pro or anything. How do you get, because do you know what college, let alone NFL coaches make? That would be the move. Save my son's body and brain from CTE and still let him get like a $2 to $5 million payday every year. All he's got to do is love the game. Fuck it, whatever game he does love. Like, dude, coach it. What? But that's no fun. The coaches don't get laid. Oh, but they do. In their 30s. It almost looks like he's got a shape up, the coach of the Colts. And if he does have a shape up, he gets all my respect. White dudes, let's bring the shape up back to you guys. You were doing it a little bit in the late 90s, and then I don't know what happened. It seemed like when Justin Bieber became a thing, people just said, let it go crazy. And if you're a white person asking what's a shape up, I think some of the barbers for white dudes say, you want me to line it up? Just makes it crisp. It's not a haircut if I can still see all the edges and whatnot going whatever way they want. Like, let's get them to fall in line. Let's make it a nice, crisp line. Quiddy pay. Unless it's witty and the K is silent. But hard consonants being treated like silent letters never made any kind of sense to me. How the fuck are you going to have a silent K? K's make a K sound. It's strong. This is the worst just because like Jacksonville stood nothing to gain by winning this game other than just a nice smile as you head back home because your season's over. But they were robbing the Colts of everything. Like, did you think you were going to go to the Super Bowl? You thought you were going to have nachos? I don't know where the Super Bowl is being played. I think it's SoFi in California where the Rams play, I think. Like, you thought you were going to have nachos at SoFi? I'll bet you had already started looking at restaurants near the stadium that you might snack and dine at. So sorry, but you're going back to Indianapolis. No one should ever say Indianapolis with a happy tone. Nothing happens there other than creating the Jackson Fives, but nothing happens there but murder and crime. And yes, I know I'm confusing it with Gary, Indiana, but, you know, they got to be close. Indiana can't be that big. Wonder what they use to get these grass stains out. That's your Tide commercial. The lady with the thick thighs giving Carson Wentz the bump. Something about a good run just gets you really excited. Like once they break past everybody and they really start looking like they might have an open field, That almost gets me out of my seat every fucking time. I'm like, oh yeah, go baby. Big ass watch that dude's got on. Did you bring a Rolex? Is it a gift from your son? Or is that your money? Yeah, and then he didn't get it. And that's the game, folks. And look at how happy they are. Because they ruined somebody else's season. Our season was done, and now yours is too. They say misery loves company. I believe them. Because if I don't have nice things, I don't want you to have them either. Carson Wentz was just playing grab ass. His arm disappeared into somebody's ass. Reminds me of this joke that I used to tell about how, like, women with big asses, their hands are really never clean, right? Because, like, when they wipe their butt, a lot of their hands are smaller than their butt cheeks. I'm talking like ridiculous big asses. Their hands are smaller than their butt cheeks. So to wipe their ass, they have to put their whole hand in their butt. And then it comes out nasty, and then they got to wash their hands. At least that's how I think it goes. Never watched somebody do it. I just wish that somebody just screamed, "Son of a bitch!" It's funny because no, men shouldn't cry. But one place that you're guaranteed to see grown men cry, the end of a season or after they've just lost a playoff game. There'll definitely be tears. 11-26. For shame. Now, if any of this betting talk has really interested you, I would highly advise you to look up John Lawson on YouTube. He's very good. The Odds Betters, I believe that's their name. I would look them up on YouTube. There is a dude on Twitter who seems to have a pretty good read on most things. His name is being hidden from me. He's Bambino Bets, but his name specifically is George Kent at Bambino_Bets, betting professionally for 43 plus years. And he is where I got the Rams +3 and the Packers -6 parlay that I did. I was like, you know what? You got to throw a little money on that if you feel good about it. That's right, guys. It's time to go home because we fucking lost. I really hope that Harris tatted across this dude's back is not his own name. Let that be a tribute to a dead friend. And to their credit, next year should be a much better year for the Colts, I hope, because they were better than a lot of teams this year. The Cowboys, I was not surprised the Cowboys lost to the 49ers last week. I saw that coming. But I'm a DC kid, and there are so many Cowboys fans in DC because they're a rival of the fucking Redskins, whatever they will be called, Admirals, Washington football team. And it bothered me that there were that many fans. I'm like, why don't you move to Dallas instead of being a fan of our fucking enemies here? But then you get upset when you get attacked at the games while you're fucking chanting for the other team and wearing their jersey. Like, don't show up to a Redskins game draped in cowboy shit and think that there will be sympathy when somebody fucking cuts your throat or smashes a bottle over your wife's head. Like, this is what you get. It's a very tough game. I lost all the money that I bet on it. You bet money? You did. And next year, you should be good, but new people will be drafted. Some people might get traded. It'll never be the same team again. Goddamn shame. Just looking at how clean this coach's shoes are. Like, it doesn't look like he's worn those shoes. I assume when you get to this level of whatever, like everything is one-time wear. Like, yeah, I wear these one day and then I throw them out. There's a new pair of shoes when I get to the building tomorrow. Got a lot of banding on his arms. What do you believe in? None of those look like breast cancer or the things that I'm accustomed to. I thought he was double cupped up, and then I was like, oh no, it's coffee. One of the things that happens if you don't drink coffee, you just don't recognize certain things right away. Yeah, he's sick. That's the way that I was watching the first Jaguars game that I bet on, which eventually led to me being like this dude, just my head in my hands. Fuck. What was I thinking? Like, this dude has two monitors, and then he had a Microsoft Surface, and then he had another like laptop next to that. How much does he have going on at one time? But this was the ultimate. Very nice. Like, all these dudes can afford to treat themselves nicely, though not everybody's got, $40 million contracts. But getting them all like some nice Louis Vuitton shit because they were the ones who kept his back safe while he needed to run his routes. Like, everybody gets a fucking Louis bag for men, and it ain't cheap, trust me. Nothing is cheap about Louis Vuitton, but certainly not a bag of those size times. How many dudes are we looking at? Like 8, 9 of them? Ball out. That one dude is clearly on his phone. That shit drives me insane. I always want to scream at people like, hey, I can see you, right? Like, while you're on your phone, can you wait until we're done? We're working. And they get paid way too much money to not listen while he's speaking. So enjoy your summer while you can. We'll be back to training. I don't know when they start training. I feel like it's early August, maybe even July, but hopefully not. Take a moment. Enjoy the sun. Win championship games. And rack up huge bills at hotels and escort service places. I mean, it's a good speech. It's not really like a rallying speech, but I guess there is no, like, they just lost, so people aren't going to jump up like, yeah, let's go kill that shit in 6 months. I'm guessing they took the photos for the year prior to this loss because nobody's in the mood to say cheese right now. Maybe you get that at the beginning of the season. I will be. I heard that you were giving away Louis Vuitton bags, and do you have an extra? It's okay if you don't. You can mail it to me. But if you're giving out Louis Vuitton, I like Louis. I like nice things. Now they grab their bags and head off into their luxury SUVs to drive God knows how many minutes to their large mansions and homes where they'll have to sequester themselves, pampered, stylish. I love those Jordans. To wait for their next $1 million season. I think the Jordans that he had on might be one of the few years that I didn't have. Need them in my life. Now, you thought we were done, didn't you? Now we're in the end credits. All right, well, hopefully you like that. The beginning of this season actually started with the Dallas Cowboys, who just got knocked out of the playoffs. They had a better year than they are a team. But if you've never seen this before, hopefully you enjoyed it. It was narrated by Liev Schreiber. I'm going to leave that first pronunciation alone. And, yeah, let's, if you don't have the betting apps, too, just do. And hopefully something that I said, one of the bets I said, will jingle jangle, or you'll look up the people, but get this free money while you can. We'll get right back. My plan was, my computer decided to be a jerk last night because my wife and I were going to do this together, but it wouldn't work, and now she's working, but I wanted to get something out to you guys so that you could watch it before all of the games and the betting begins. All right, have a good weekend, everybody. We'll be right back. Peaces.